Hello there, and welcome to my channel. Today we're going to be reviewing the first Halloween movie from 1978, and I'm really excited because I just got into the Halloween franchise about almost 2 years ago. So when the announcement of the 2018 sequel to the original was announced, that was my introduction to the franchise. I had never seen it before, I didn't grow up with it. My horror movie franchise throughout my younger years was Scream. Looking back on it now, I can't believe I'd never seen it before. It's such a great franchise, it's such a great film. Michael Myers is so iconic. It's so crazy now looking at Scream, knowing how much of it's like a love note to Halloween. That's pretty awesome. Now, one day after watching the Halloween 2018 trailer, I just really wanted them. I wanted to see all of them. I just felt this need inside of me. I just was sitting here on my bed and I watched a trailer and I looked up and I was like, I should just go see if Best Buy has these movies. And I went there and I was trying to find this, and I searched all the way up and down the aisles and couldn't find any trace of it. And so I was literally on my way out of the store, and then there was this like little stand that was close to the exit that had movies on all four sides, and I figured I would, check it out and look at it. I see the Alien box franchise sitting down on the bottom shelf, and it catches my eye because I love Sigourney Weaver and aliens and all that stuff. So I bend down and I reach down to go pick it up, and right in front of my face, this is sitting here. And I'm about to reach for the Alien box, and I look over and I go, and I look around and I'm like, no way, this isn't real. And so I fucking pick it up, and it was the last one, and I almost didn't get it. And so ever since then, I've just thought that was such a cool story about like manifesting, something that you want. With that being said, let's review John Carpenter's Halloween from 1978. Alright, so this movie has one of the best opening credits of any horror movie that I've seen. Personally, I really love them, and I know a lot of other people do. It's just so iconic and great and menacing, and it's beautiful. The orange glow of it all, and the simplicity of zooming in so slow on the pumpkin and introducing the names. I don't even mind watching it or how long it is or reading all of the names and zooming up so close that you see that the nose and the eye make Michael Myers' shape, and that was awesome. And we get that in Halloween 2 and in Halloween 2018. I hope we continue it in Halloween Kills and Ends. But yeah, perfect, iconic opening credits that just pretty much let you know what kind of movie you're getting into, and I don't think that they could be more perfect. I think the reason why this movie was so big is just because of how nice it feels. It's a good opening. Now, the first time I ever watched it, I didn't know anything about it, so I assumed that there was a killer guy, on the loose in Halloween trying to murder these people, and then we're having that POV shot, and he kills his sister, that we don't know that at the time. And I'm thinking, okay, here we go. And then she says, Michael, and it occurs to me, okay, so she must know this person. And then at the end, when we were revealed that it was a 6-year-old little boy, that really took me for surprise the first time I was seeing that, because I thought, well, I never knew that side of Michael Myers. I literally knew nothing going into this movie, just that Jamie Lee Curtis was in it, and this is her first movie ever, which was weird for me because the first thing I ever saw her in was Freaky Friday with Lindsay Lohan. But yeah, it's so simple. It's just good story structuring. It's good storytelling. Whenever I watch a lot of films, I think about like how they make them and stuff. When I watch this one, I literally think about all the times that I was in film school, and it reminds me of all the things that we were doing to try to pull off shots and everything. You can tell that this was like in a good way, a lower budget movie, and it just seems so accomplishable and real, and it's not going for anything over above. We're kind of staying on one town location, one neighborhood street, and that, by the way, is really awesome because I live here in West Hollywood, and I have visited some of the places where they've shot it, and it looks very similar, and it's so beautiful. And that's another thing that kind of brings me into not a con of this movie, but I've mentioned before that I'm kind of like a script supervisor, so from that aspect, I noticed palm trees in the background. Um, I just could tell when like what was it? When Tommy's carrying his pumpkin and the kids laugh at him or whatever, and he falls on it. I could tell that the line in the pumpkin was pre-cut so that it would bust whenever it was opened. Just little things like that, but it's so much fun to watch this movie. It's a great feeling. It's eerie but comforting. I think the best parts for me, my favorite at least, are when we're walking with Laurie Strode for the first time in the beginning on her way to school alone. And then whenever she's walking back alone, and then whenever she is got her outfit changed for the night and she walks out of the house and she's waiting on the sidewalk for Annie to pick her up. Just something about the outside scenes and the way that the score fits in with it, it just makes me feel that kind of, I don't know, nostalgia / anxiety that's like good but reminds me of like, I don't know, I said it in my first Scream review that there's this certain type of like good anxiety that I feel sometimes, and this movie definitely gives me that, and I love it. Some people say, oh well, like it's so green it doesn't even look like an October season, but I lived in Ohio for 17 years growing up, and Illinois and Ohio are pretty much right there next to each other. So there's been a few Christmases, like on Christmas Day, we've taken a picture as a family on the deck, and the grass is green, the lakes are blue, and the sky is blue, and the sun is shining, and you wouldn't be able to tell that it wasn't the middle of the summer, So we've had crazy weather like that before, so that's my excuse for it. That's why, in some of the other Halloween movies, it looks more October-y and has more of an October-y feel, and that's good. I do love that a lot. But I just have it noted in my mind that, like, it doesn't take me out of this film, just because the seasons don't 100% look the same. And they make up for it by adding, like, leaves and stuff on the ground. I think I remember hearing that like they were using the same leaves over and over again, so they would gather them up and carry them around to different locations. Jamie Lee Curtis does an amazing job with this role, and John Carpenter is right. There is this sort of like strongness but like innocence about her, and she just feels like a friend. She feels like me. I'm her. She's me. She's the audience when we watch it. She's us, like our point of view. Like we just feel like we connect her so well. Something that I like about in this movie is the fact that she doesn't have a boyfriend. She's not really into all that. She does have like, it's a cutesy little crush on like Ben Tramer, and she's constantly like playing with her hair and stuff. It's cool to see kind of like the innocent girl just like having a day in school and like wandering around with her friends, and I loved that whenever I was younger. Like my walk home with my friends was like so fun. We got to laugh and talk, so those are feel-good scenes for me. I love it whenever she's like smoking a joint in the car though, because like to me, I'd never really seen that in a horror movie before. Usually the stoners are like stupid or like blowouts, or the people who do smoke weed end up dying, or I don't know. So it was just cool to see like, it was way ahead of its time, but like just an occasional girl who just, not a big partier, not a drinker, doesn't like to binge and woo and, take her top off and dance and stuff. She's just hitting a joint a couple of times in a car on a way to babysit for the night. And there is something so innocent about that, I think. And that's what was so crazy about the first one. I am 100% behind the aspect of the first one of them not being related. I like that concept better, 100% scarier to me. Now, why the brother-sister aspect is a motive that is really nice, and the other ones, I still like it. To me personally, I just love that the first film doesn't mention it, and that the 2018 sequel goes on a whole storyline about who and why and what that story could be. That's really interesting to me. I love the ending. Obviously, that's the best part. Everyone loves that part, and there's like 3 or 4 times when Myers goes down, and she thinks that he's gone for good. And that was kind of like a fake out thing, you know, it was fake relief, so it was fun for the audience to be like, is he really dead, is he really gone, you know, oh, this is, you know, the killer has to go down sometime, is it now? And then it's not, and then it is, and then it's not, and then it is, and then it's not. Because the movie ends and he's gone from, you know, the balcony, and that's one of the best parts too, is how this ends. All of the shots of the places that we had been. I wish more movies would do that, like horror movies, because there's something so, to me, Jamie Lee Curtis talks about the trauma of it all, and that's what really sets it in for me, is the ending shots of everything. Like, look at what we just went through, and look at all the places it happened. Like you ever go somewhere and you're like, whoa, that's where that happened, you know? And so that's just a really crazy concept to me. Something else I kept thinking about whenever I was watching it this time around is they keep talking about the dance that's going to happen to the next night over. Why don't you go to the dance? Or, well, you know, I've been thinking about it. Or, oh, I want to take Ben Tramer, and this and that and the other. In a world where Halloween 2 doesn't take place, does Laurie go to the dance the next night? You know, Jamie Lee Curtis said she had it in her mind that she went to school the next day or whatever. Because her parents were like, brush it off, you know, sweetie, go. Because that's just how they dealt with things back then. So, you know, I'm wondering if she, you know, really had that night happen and was a crazy night, and then woke up the next morning, got some rest and sleep, and went through a day and was kind of just processing it, and then is like, yeah, you know, I don't need to be going through this. They took him into custody. You know, I need to try to relax. Let me go to this dance with, you know, obviously not my friends because they're all dead, but I want to forget about the fact that my friends are dead, so why not go to the dance with the Ben Tramer, with, you know, the ones my friends tried to set me up with before. I don't know. I just wonder if that's a concept that anybody else has thought about, because anytime when we talk about the Halloween movies, I've never heard someone mention that little fact before. So one thing that does kind of get on my nerves about this movie is the character of Annie. So at first, in the first couple of times I watched it, it didn't really like stick out. For some reason, whatever, this time watching it, to me, just her whininess of her voice, like, Lindsay, I don't know, it doesn't seem as real to me. And then when she's dying, oh gosh, she's a horrible actress when she's dying, if you ask me. She's making weird, like, faces, and then, like, she closes her eyes and then opens them back up again, and then, like, semi-blinks, and I don't know, it just doesn't seem believable to me. So that one part took me out of the movie a little bit. For the most part, though, I mean, everything in this movie is iconic for a reason, because the knife, the mask, the score, everything. Literally, you can't name one thing about this movie that isn't just known by everyone. Like, it's crazy to me. This is one of the best movies in the entire franchise. Most people think that it is the first. I'm excited to look into rankings whenever that happens. To me, what's great about this movie is that it's a fun 1970s slasher that you can throw on, or you can show people, or watch by yourself, or I don't know, in a group, in the daytime, at nighttime. I don't know. It's perfect. It's a perfect movie all the way around. And it's just amazing that they were able even to pull that off on set, and that what they were working so hard to accomplish translated so well when put together with the right pacing and editing and music. And I don't know, it's one of those things that's like a miracle, or something that could never be done ever again, you know? Lightning in a bottle, you know, magic was captured. Nothing can ever replace what this movie is and how it means to people. Not to mention, it brings us Michael Myers, who's one of the biggest horror movie icons ever, and he was only able to do that because of this movie and having such an impact. And then every sequel having an impact on that as well only adds to his name. Now that I've seen these movies, I'm super excited for Halloween Kills, obviously. He's become my second favorite, you know, mass murderer behind Ghostface. And it's just really nice for me to be able to see these movies, especially after film school. I'm kind of glad that I was able to get into them afterwards, and then I'm able to watch them from this whole other perspective that I wouldn't have had I been younger. I think when I was younger, I did see Halloween H2O, but I wasn't aware that that's what that was, and I was at someone else's house. I think it was a background something or whatever. But yeah, so for the most part, 2018 of January was when I bought this DVD set and watched Halloween for the first time, and it totally changed my perspective on things and my life, and something new that I can obsess over and something I can talk about. And it'll always have a special place in my heart now, just like it will with everyone else that loved it and grew up with it. And that's the great thing about a timeless movie like this, is no matter when it was made, no matter who watches it, and no matter at what age, like if it affects you and if you love it and if it stays with you, then it did its job, and it does its job perfectly, to a T, to 100%. I mean, Michael Myers and Laurie Strode are two of my favorite horror icons. I can't even express or describe that enough. So we'll have to break that up and break all of my love up and all of my obsession up throughout the reviews of these movies. Yeah, that was my review of Halloween, the original from 1978. I'm looking forward to doing the sequel soon. Laurie is what makes this movie, and her innocence matched with Michael Myers is just the best, and it's a great and iconic slasher movie. So let me know what you thought about it down in the comments. Let me know your favorite parts. Are there any parts that annoy you? So check out some of my other videos and stick around. Alright, thanks. Bye.